In the wide, unsettled expanse called Indian Territory, present-day Oklahoma, law was fragile. Outlaws moved between tribal lands, towns sprang overnight, and federal authorities struggled to hold sway. Into this world walked a man born in slavery, who rose to become one of the territory's most respected peace officers, Grant Johnson. Grant Johnson was born in June 1858 in northern Texas, the son of Alex Johnson, a Chickasaw freedman, and Miley Johnson, a Creek freedwoman. As a child, he learned the Muskogee Creek's language, observed tribal customs, and also mastered English and reading and writing. In those years after the Civil War, the 5 civilized tribes, freedmen blacks who had been enslaved by Indians or inherited through Indian removal, occupied a peculiar space in the New Order. I reckon walking between two worlds, Creek and American, gave me eyes to see what others missed. I learned to listen, to speak, to watch silence as much as noise. By the 1880s, Grant Johnson had moved into Creek Nation. Because he spoke Creek fluently and understood tribal protocols, he was well suited to serve as a deputy U.S. Marshal. In 1887 or so, around that time, Johnson received his first commission as a deputy marshal under Judge Isaac C. Parker in Fort Smith, Arkansas, working the Western District into Indian Territory. He soon earned a reputation as among Parker's best deputies. Deputy Johnson, we have a warrant on a fellow named Abner Brassfield, a white outlaw holed up somewhere in the territory. He's eluded capture for months. You take a team, ride hard. Johnson calm, resolute. Yes, sir. Give me what you have. Aliases, last known route, associates. Marshal, we expect danger. He's violent and well armed. Johnson set off into the tangled trails, rivers, wooded ravines, Indian settlements. He moved with stealth, listening to informers, crossing tribal fences, blending into the landscape. One of Johnson's earliest notable arrests was of Jake Stanley, a fugitive wanted for murder. He also captured the counterfeiter Amos Hill, the Choctaw outlaw Chehenegee, and the Cherokee outlaw Columbus Rose. In each case, Johnson employed a mixture of patience, surveillance, linguistic skill, and occasional firepower. They say Rose is inside that cabin with at least one rifle. We wait till first light. No needless risk. We demand surrender first. Rose, you can't force me out. I have the right to stand my ground. Johnson, out. Rose, you're under warrant. Lay down your arms, come out unhurt, and no harm to you. That's how Johnson often worked, using negotiation and firm stance first. But sometimes violence came anyway. In a peculiar and dramatic episode dubbed Shooting on a Train, Johnson confronted a fugitive on a moving passenger train near Chickasaw. Johnson often partnered with Bass Reeves, perhaps the most legendary black deputy marshal of all. Together they formed a formidable tandem in Indian Territory. Newspapers across Arkansas, Kansas, Oklahoma reported their exploits.
Johnson, I've heard Abner Brassfield's been moving near the verdigris. That's your lead.
I intend to slip in tonight, cross the river at sunrise. You want to join?
Always. Let's move.
They tracked Brassfield to a hideout in a wooded ravine. Johnson took point, Reeves followed his backup. At dawn, they surrounded the cabin. Brassfield attempted resistance, but the duo forced him out at pistol point, arrested him, bound him, and returned him to Fort Smith. This event is more part of legend sources credit Johnson with Brassfield's capture. Other notable captures: John Pierce and Bill Davis for murder, Wade Chamberlain train robber.
Deputy Johnson, your report and testimony are clear. I commend your diligence. You are among the best of my deputies.
Thank you, sir.
In March 1891, reported by the Dallas Morning News, a tense incident unfolded aboard a southbound Missouri, Kansas, and Texas railroad passenger train near Chickasaw. Johnson boarded at Muskogee, believed he recognized a man in one coach as a fugitive who had escaped custody months earlier. Johnson stepping down the aisle, scanning faces, "Excuse me, sir, may I see your papers?" The man looked startled. Fugitive nervously, "Aye?" "I have nothing illegal here," Johnson affirmed. "You are wanted for murder. You have a right to surrender quietly." Suddenly, the man draws a pistol. Gunfire rings. Johnson returns fire. The man is hit. Chaos erupts. Passengers duck. Cries and shouts. Shots were exchanged. The fugitive was wounded. Johnson subdued him. No innocent bystander was seriously injured in the fracas, though the dramatic scene made front-page news in regional newspapers. By 1902, tensions brewed among Creek full-bloods and freedmen over land allotments and treaty violations under the Dawes Commission. Cheeto Harjo, a respected Creek elder and traditionalist, led resistance. Johnson, now transferred to the Northern District headquartered in Muskogee, was tasked with suppressing disturbances and arresting Harjo and his followers. Johnson addressing Harjo, "Your protests are understood, but the courts have authorized your arrest. Lay down arms and come peacefully."
We resist only to protect our treaties. You cannot force us by threat.
A tense standoff. A shot rings out from Harjo's camp. Johnson's deputies return fire. A couple of men wounded. The rest surrender. Johnson and his posse arrested Cheeto Harjo and his core followers, transporting them to the federal jail in Muskogee. The action quelled much of the overt unrest, though resentment simmered. In 1898, Johnson officially moved to the Northern District of Indian Territory, patrolling around Eufaula. For many years, he was essentially the only deputy marshal in that area. He built an arrest record considered among the best under Marshal Leo Bennett. Johnson walked streets, questioned informants, read letters, followed trails. He broke rings of cattle, rustlers prosecuted meat thieves, and maintained order even during small-town feuds. His commission as Deputy U.S. Marshal ended around 1906. Afterward, he became a city policeman in Eufaula, patrolling primarily the black section of the town. Johnson's post-martial service was not without drama. In 1908, during the McIntosh County seat war between Checotah and Eufaula factions, armed men from Checotah attempted to seize county records by force. When the raiders reached Eufaula, citizens asked Johnson, then a police officer, to intervene. Johnson raising hand, "Frank Jones, we once worked as fellow officers. Lay down your arms. Let's not bring blood to this town." Jones reluctant, "Johnson, we came to right a wrong, but your reputation gives us pause." Negotiation ensues. The Checotah men, seeing they are outnumbered and confronted by a former marshal, surrender. Eufaula defenders escort them to jail. Johnson thus played a key role, not by force, but by persuasion and respect. He died in Eufaula on April 9, 1929. Some sources say 1927, at age approximately 70. Grant Johnson was a man of quiet dignity. He rode the thin line between cultures, Creek and Federal, black and native, frontier and court. He carried 2 revolvers, a Winchester, but often used his tongue first. He was lauded by Judge Parker as one of the best deputies, and newspapers across the region documented his talents. In life, he bridged communities. In death, he faded in memory. But his story is no less heroic.
I did what needed doing, to serve justice, to bring order, but never to gloat. My reward was a quiet road, a town that slept safe, a record I could sign with pride.
Today we remember Grant Johnson, not as a sidekick to Reeves, but as a formidable lawman himself. In the wild, shifting lands of Indian Territory, he stood for law, integrity, and resolve. Hey, before you go, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. We've got more powerful stories coming, and you won't want to miss what's next.